Hi there, this is Michelle Dunn, and this is my camera confession. I do have to admit, Ollie, it's a little weird since I know that I'm only talking to you, but I think this is a great idea. I actually went through some of the camera confessions that were posted, and I found that I really liked the idea of the one gentleman who used a PowerPoint. I'm not really good at just speaking off the cuff into a camera. I like to have my points bulleted so that I can speak from them. So that's what I intend to do with my camera confession. All right, so getting started, my introduction. I'm currently a sixth grade teacher at Donegal School District. I teach reading and writing. I've been there for 22 years. I'm not sure, maybe a little bit more. I don't have the exact number on that. I have taught social studies in the past, which really connects closely to reading and writing as well. What's new in my life since the last time we were together? Well, I am currently on a teaching sabbatical. I don't know if I mentioned that to you when I was taking the summer course or not, but it was something that I was hoping to do. I really needed a little bit of a break from the classroom. The last couple of years has been really rough. Lots of changes in education, making teaching a little rough at times. I felt like I wanted to go back to school and continue my studies, but it was really difficult to take classes, teach full time, and manage my family. So I do feel really blessed that I've been able to afford this opportunity that's been provided for me. I must say it's a little different because I've done a sabbatical in the past, but I had a newborn at home at the time. This time all kids are in school, so yeah, it's a little strange, but I'm really enjoying learning as a student again without any distractions. All right, so one of the first things that you asked was how do all the pieces fit together with the courses that have been taken so far? Well, as you know, I'm not in the endorsement program per se. I'm actually taking the master's program, or I've applied for it, so hopefully you'll get that paperwork. It'll come across your desk sometime here in the near future. I have taken two of the core courses, which one was your Summer Technology Institute, and I finished up over the fall the Instructional Technology Design and Assessment course. With my sabbatical, I'm taking four courses. Two of them are the just general courses for my master's research methods as well as advanced psychology, but I'm taking this course with you, and then I'm also taking responding to individual learners this semester, which I'm looking forward to. How do they all fit together? Well, I think that we can't ignore that technology is here to stay. It's not going to go away, and we really need to meet our students where they're at because they're in front of a screen 24/7. We can't keep up or compete as teachers just standing in front of a classroom every day. So technology is definitely a must, whether it's a blended format or it's a fully online format. It definitely it's a must. It must stay. For me, these courses have really right now given me the tools to use, technology tools, to use what I know about pedagogy and teaching to develop and best utilize the online formats. The Instruction Technology Design Assessment course was just a great example of how technology can be used for the betterment of our students. You can assess, they can get immediate feedback, which is so important. You can't get that with just pencil and paper grading. Not only that, but the students can sort of work at their own pace, and you can, or I can as the teacher, walk around and meet them right where they are or exactly the moment that they need me. Just some other key points regarding the courses that I've taken. My view of online teaching is, a pretty positive one in that really good pedagogy is needed. I think, even more so when you're teaching online or you're getting ready to flip your classes or flip some of your lessons. What's shaken me to my core about online teaching or flipping classes is that it is really a lot of work to flip classes or teach online, and it also takes a lot of buy-in from teachers, administrators, parents, community members. Everyone really has to be on board. What I mean about all the work is I tried to flip some of my vocabulary lessons, and it really worked out well. However, I had to use it more in a blended format. I tried to have the students watch them at home, and I just don't know that our district was quite ready for me to flip my lessons outside of school, even though, well, I shouldn't say that. Sixth graders do not take home their computers, so it was very difficult for them. Many of them had excuses or reasons why they couldn't watch the flip lessons at home, or why they couldn't log on and view my flip vocabulary lessons. I think once the sixth graders are allowed to take their computers home, if I begin to advocate for that and get that process rolling, that it might help me a little bit, and I wouldn't have to do it necessarily as a blended lesson, but it could be a flip lesson. But, either way, everybody has to buy into it. The students weren't quite ready to just watch their lesson at home and do what was required. The parents weren't ready with some of the technology issues, and administrators definitely, I feel, just don't know enough yet about flipping classrooms or even blending instruction in the classrooms with technology. As far as the work, it was a lot of work up front. Benefits, however, I was freed up during class time. I either had extra time in class to teach or review the vocabulary because they came prepared with the information, or I could really meet the students that needed me and needed my one-on-one help the moment that they needed my help. Questions that I do still have is, as we go to more flipping instruction or blending our instruction, how do we ensure that all students are getting quality online instruction? And I know that the textbook that we're reading really helps to outline what a good online course should look like. I know that we use an LMS, Schoology, but I feel like sometimes not everybody uses that LMS in the same way. They think that they're doing blended learning because they're just throwing a bunch of articles or having on the site, or they're throwing up some worksheets to have students fill in. Well, it's really not a good use of technology, I've found. So, especially in our district, we need to make sure that there's a lot of professional development if we're going to do blended learning or flipped lessons. And there's a lot of buy-in that still needs to take place. All right, so moving on. Next, my philosophy of online teaching. Right now, I really don't know that I'm ready to teach just online courses. I do still like the face-to-face, but I like to incorporate technology as much as I can, whether in a flipped lesson format or in that blending learning format. Some things that I've learned, or really some positives that have come out of some of the things I did this past fall in my classroom with flipping or blending my instruction, is that it really does promote participation. Things like Nearpod, Poll Everywhere, GoFormative, discussion boards. The students really can't hide. No, they're not raising their hands in class and volunteering, but they all have to volunteer, and they know that I can track whether or not they volunteer. So it does really get all of the students involved. And you said the same thing in your camera confession about one person, always the same person, raising their hand and sharing information. Others are afraid to speak. Well, this way they have to share. Sometimes they can share anonymously, like Poll Everywhere, and some of the fear is sort of removed from students knowing if their answer is right or wrong. But I also think that teachers need to use good pedagogy as well, and make sure that their classroom is an environment where students can fail. Putting up the wrong answer is not a bad thing, because we can all learn from that. And but that's probably more in how you create your learning environment than it is an online teaching issue. Online teaching has allowed me, or flipping some of my lessons has allowed me to be right there for my students when they need me. I can walk around. If they have a question, they can stop whatever part of the online lesson or the flip lesson that they're doing, and we can talk. It just gives me more time. Plus, the students who are more independent and don't want to, they move at a much faster rate. They can sort of move ahead and do other things when they finish. I've also really found this one here. Students can work at their own pace. I put rewind videos. We had a new writing program this past fall that we started, and a lot of there were teaching videos. They weren't the best teaching videos, but I would post them and I would use Edpuzzle. So there'd be some accountability. I'd embed questions along the way, but I found a lot of students would stop the videos and they'd rewind and they would go back. That's just a great teaching strategy to have students, go back if they don't understand something. So, technology can encourage students to do that, where face-to-face, I can't always encourage the students to tune in and go back, or they can't rewind me if I'm live. But if there's a video of me or a video of the instruction, they can go back. And again, I mentioned early that online teaching or use of technology really allows for the teachers to be more efficient. They can provide more timely feedback. It can really aid the overall learning process for the students. Again, I mentioned that whole mind shift. It needs to take place. If we're going to move to flipping classrooms and blending instruction and online classes in school districts, we really need to make sure that we get everybody's buy-in, including administration, that, when they walk in the classroom, they just see everybody with headphones on their computer, that they don't think that, oh, well, what's this teacher doing? She's clearly not teaching. So there needs to be a big mind shift. You talked about the personalized learning. I have to be honest. Yeah, that really scares me. First of all, just the whole setup portion of it. In the textbook that we read this summer for your class, I remember reading that chapter and thinking, I don't know if I could do that. Setting it all up so that, it'd be a lot of work up front. Plus, again, like you said, I don't know that the students are ready to not interact with their classmates. Some of them are, but the good majority of them are not. All right, and moving on, I think the last point here, online teaching and how it informs face-to-face instruction, being an education person and knowing good pedagogy. I have had those professors who they just disseminated the information and then I had to learn it and regurgitate it, and it wasn't always good teaching. My best teaching professors, or my best college professors, were those that were education teachers or education majors. Because and I think, that's important, because that's how even adults learn the best, with good teaching pedagogy. But I think that if you're going to be an online teacher, these are all the things that you have to go through. You're planning. Really, you have to be thoughtful and thorough. For a professor who's used to just putting the information in the class, presenting the information, the student regurgitates it. Well, if they're going to be an online teacher and they want to start a discussion, they're going to have to really be thoughtful ahead of time about what kinds of questions to ask to get that discussion going. I put this last comment here: all work must be completed ahead of time, no winging it. I'm going to admit, I think I'm a pretty thorough lesson planner. However, there have been times where I've gone in and I might not quite have something thoroughly ready to go for the day, and I have had to wing it. I really think that, as an online teacher, you can't wing it. Everything, just like it was mentioned in the textbook, you have to really think ahead, and everything, all of your modules need to be completed ahead of time, your assessments, so that you can, as the online teacher, focus and think about the feedback portion of it. You can't be planning and providing feedback in an online course. So that pretty much sums up my camera confession. I'm looking forward to taking this course, as usual. I enjoyed your last course, and I'm sure that you'll really get me thinking and keep me on my toes for this course. That's all for now.